Good evening and welcome to the Florida Weather Watch's weekly weather forecast video, this time for the dates of Sunday, April 9th to Saturday, April 15th. This will also cover the Easter holiday that is coming tomorrow. So to all of my viewers who celebrate, I want to wish you and your families a very happy Easter tomorrow. For all those that are of the Jewish community, I want to wish you all a happy Passover season with you and your families, as well as you honor the traditions of the Jewish faith during Passover season. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Florida Weather Watch's weather forecast video for this upcoming week. Uh, Before I continue, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I notice that many of my viewers are not currently subscribed to my channel, so it would help me greatly if you click below, you hit that little subscribe button, hit that bell notification so that you can get alerted whenever I post videos just like this one, and please hit that thumbs up button to let me know that you're liking the videos. And as always, please go ahead and leave comments down below. I am always open to answering questions, taking comments from the community at large. So let's get into the weather headlines, and you're going to notice there's no red, there's no yellow for my background, but there's green for the background. There's a reason for it, ladies and gentlemen, because we finally in Florida will be seeing a significant weather pattern that will bring wet weather to Florida, will bring some much needed drought relieving rains to the state of Florida. And this is going to be a very interesting potential situation developing because of the fact that it could actually evolve into our first subtropical system, maybe our first named storm of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. That would be Arlene um, in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I'm not saying don't anticipate any hurricane or anything. It'd be a very large, broad tropical system. But I want to show you that today, as the possibilities are there that we could see some sort of subtropical system getting going in the Gulf of Mexico this week. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a look at your Easter Day forecast first. This is my first ever graphic that I have done of the sort. So here is my Easter Day forecast for the state of Florida. You will notice that in the panhandle areas of Florida, it will be mostly cloudy, and actually it will be much cooler tomorrow for Easter, with morning lows in the 50s, afternoon highs not getting out of the 60s in the northern part of the state. This is because of a cold front that has now come through, and this cold front will be providing for a lot of wet weather across the central and northern parts of the state. That will eventually translate down into South Florida overnight in the late afternoon hours tomorrow, bringing some pretty hefty showers and thunderstorms as well. So this will all rotate down the peninsula here as the day goes on tomorrow. And you'll notice as the temperatures increase down the peninsula because the cold front has not made it through the entire state of Florida here. So you're looking at some pretty disturbed weather, some pretty wet weather across most of Florida tomorrow. It's not going to be an all-day thing. It's going to be more of the scattered variety. But there will be rain around. And that's going to go ahead and lead into the next part of this, which is going to be the potential for a subtropical system to form in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, what you're looking at is the current satellite imagery for the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, we have the state of Florida right here, and we have our cold front, which is kind of draped. You can kind of see with the flow from the backside of this, there is a bit of a cold front that is draped about right here. So there is our cold front right there, and ahead of it, you are noticing that there are some showers and some thunderstorms that have developed over the Gulf and over the state of Florida. And then this is what's eventually going to cause rain to come through to the South Florida tomorrow. So what's going to end up happening is all this weather is going to be going in this general direction across the state of Florida, as this front will also make it across the state of Florida here. But the lingering remnants of the front in the Gulf of Mexico here could create a very interesting situation for this time of the year um, in April in the Gulf of Mexico. So what I mean by that is, let's go ahead and take a look at our computer forecast models here. Um, oh, I have to go ahead and get my clicker. There we go. So let's go ahead and take a look at the computer forecast models. This is the European model. The European model is one of the most reliable models in the world when it comes to predicting and forecasting weather. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the two different forecast models, and then we're going to put them together in what's called the WPC forecast. The WPC forecast takes all the models together and gives some sort of general idea of how much rainfall can be expected over a period of time. So you're going to notice this is 18Z model. So this is from 2 o'clock this afternoon. So this is starting at 8 o'clock tonight. Okay, it really does well in picking up all the showers and thunderstorms with this cold front here. So as I go ahead and step it through time here, let me go ahead and put on my forecast loop here. That'll be much easier for us to see. What you're going to notice here, ladies and gentlemen, is that as I go ahead and step it through time, showers and storms will continue overnight into the morning hours for northern Florida. And then as we continue to go through the day, the moisture starts moving down the peninsula. And this is at 5 p.m. tomorrow. I want you to notice a pretty significant bullseye of much more significant showers and thunderstorms over South Florida here. That is due to this frontal boundary that is going to start stalling out over the Florida Peninsula here. This front is actually going to linger across the Gulf of Mexico right here. And what's going to end up happening is it's going to become what's called a stationary front. And as a stationary front lingers over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, sometimes what can happen is we could go ahead and get some little spin up in the Gulf of Mexico, bringing moisture together and creating a very sloppy weather system as we get through the next several days here. So there's a bullseye of activity over southern Florida that reaches down to the southwest Florida. Finally, a little rainfall, more than likely coming for southwest Florida, where they are the most drought stricken in the entire state of Florida. And as I go ahead and set this through time, this is for early Monday morning. And then what's going to end up happening is, look at all this moisture. There's going to be a lot of moisture across the Gulf of Mexico, across Florida, especially when we start getting this wet flow that's going to come in from the Atlantic here. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to have moisture building because of high pressure to the north. And then you're going to also have the moisture that's over the Gulf of Mexico here. So you're looking at the potential for our first significant rain event of 2023 in many parts of Florida here. And as I continue to move it through time, look, that rainfall lingers around. This is for 2 o'clock Tuesday. Tuesday looks like kind of a drier day, but I want you to look at this. Look at the center of the Gulf of Mexico here. The center of the Gulf of Mexico here, this is where you're going to notice there is going to be a collection of moisture coming together here. And what that's going to do is eventually, because the waters are so warm here, what that may eventually do is it's going to go ahead and potentially cause a low pressure center, which is right here. You can see the low pressure center developing right here in the Gulf of Mexico. And what this would do is it would bring in moist air. Actually, let me go ahead and represent this with a different color here. Let's go ahead and represent this with green. It would start bringing in some much more moist air up through the eastern part of the Gulf of Mexico, and eventually that's going to lead into a lot more rainfall across the area, across South Florida here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is let's go ahead and take a look at what the American model is showing. This is the American model, same time, 18Z, which was the 2 o'clock run this afternoon, um, showing the showers and thunderstorms over the Florida pretty well. And then this is for that is for Monday morning. Actually, that's for tomorrow night. You see, it's like the European model, showing some showers and thunderstorms over South Florida here, and then that easterly flow across the state brings some wet weather again to the Florida Peninsula here. And then as I go through time here, that's Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. And then bada boom, there is a low in the center of the Gulf of Mexico here as well. So both of these models are starting to show the potential for a low pressure system developing in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, what does it mean that it's going to be subtropical? I want you to notice like how spread out the rains are. Okay, that's number one. When a storm in the Gulf or a storm in any part of the ocean does not have all the storms concentrated at the center, but they're more spread out, that's subtropical because that means that it's not really collecting at the center. That means it's not really warm core, and it's more spread out. So what's going to be happening is that as we get through time here, this could potentially get into develop into a weak system, possibly going into the northern Gulf, and then that will send some rainfall over the Florida Peninsula here. And as you'll see for Thursday afternoon, pretty much the entire state of Florida is seeing rain according to the American model here. And then Friday, same story. Friday, more showers and thunderstorms going into this is going into Saturday here. So finally, we're going to start to see some more wet weather developing across Florida here. Now, how much wet weather? This is what the what I was referring to earlier with the WPC, the Weather Prediction Center. And I want you to notice most of the rain is going to be concentrated in this region of eastern Florida because of the flow coming in off the Atlantic here. That's going to bring moisture in to the eastern part of Florida here. So it's going to collect there, interact with that system. And this big bullseye right over here, is that subtropical system, is that subtropical storm that could potentially develop in the Gulf of Mexico. One thing I want to make sure is perfectly clear before anybody starts hyping or anything. This will be a weak system. Even if it were to get a name, which would be Arlene, it would not be any stronger than a weak tropical storm, 40, 45, maybe 50 miles an hour. It would not be something that would warrant any type of panic. It would just bring a lot more rainfall, which is something that we need here in Florida, because over 90% of the state of Florida is in drought. Nearly 70% of the state is in moderate drought, and about 5% of the state, which is Collier County, mostly, is under extreme drought. So this rainfall will be welcomed. Unfortunately, I would love to see this map flipped, where most of the rain would be on the west side of Florida, because that's where they need the rain most. But overall, we're going to see a wetter pattern developing. We're finally going to see a break in the heat and the humidity here in South Florida as this rainfall and this cloudiness will bring temperatures down, where we're not going to be getting above many days in Florida this upcoming week. We may barely get into the 80s. Most days we'll be stuck in the 70s in the afternoon, as compared to what we were dealing with last week, which was temperatures in the 90s across much of Florida. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this brings to a conclusion my weekly weather forecast. I will have more updates as they are necessary in the coming days, if there's anything that really changes significantly. And also, obviously, if this does develop into a subtropical system, I'll have a special video update on that. But without further ado, please enjoy your Easter and Passover holidays with you and your families. I hope you have a wonderful day uh, and a wonderful time. And as my late great cross country coach Jim Richardson would say, there'll be weather, whether or not. But no matter whatever the weather will be or how wet the weather will be, I'll be here to keep you ahead of the storm and to try to keep you dry. Have a great night.